The story of Moses is an important and widely known biblical narrative. Here is the full story summarized according to the Bible. Moses was born into a Hebrew family during a time when the Israelites were enslaved in Egypt. Due to Pharaoh's fear that the Hebrew population was increasing too rapidly, he ordered that all Hebrew baby boys be killed. In desperation, Moses' mother hid him in a basket and placed him in the Nile River. Pharaoh's daughter discovered the baby floating in the river and took him as her own, naming him Moses. As Moses grew older, he became aware of his Hebrew heritage. One day, he witnessed an Egyptian slave master mistreating a Hebrew slave, which angered him. In an act of rage, Moses killed the Egyptian and, fearing punishment, fled into the wilderness. Moses settled in the land of Midian, where he married and became a shepherd. One day, while tending his flock, he saw a burning bush that was not consumed by the fire. God spoke to Moses from the bush, telling him that he had been chosen to free the Israelites from their slavery in Egypt. Reluctantly, Moses returned to Egypt and confronted Pharaoh, demanding the release of his people. However, Pharaoh refused to let the Israelites go, and as a result, God sent 10 plagues upon Egypt as a demonstration of his power. These plagues included turning the water into blood, sending swarms of frogs and flies, causing livestock to die, and spreading a pestilence that killed the firstborns of Egypt. After the 10th and final plague, the death of the firstborn sons, Pharaoh finally relented and allowed the Israelites to leave Egypt. Moses led them out, and as they journeyed towards the promised land, Pharaoh changed his mind and chased after them with his army. The Israelites were trapped between the pursuing Egyptians and the Red Sea. God performed a miracle, parting the waters of the Red Sea, allowing the Israelites to cross safely. Once the Israelites were safely across, Moses stretched out his hand again, and the water closed in on the Egyptian army, drowning them all. After their escape from Egypt, Moses led the Israelites through the desert for 40 years. During this time, he received the 10 Commandments from God on Mount Sinai. These commandments were a set of guidelines and laws for the people to follow. However, the Israelites often doubted and rebelled against Moses, even worshipping a golden calf during his absence. Despite these challenges, Moses continued to lead and guide the Israelites until they reached the border of the Promised Land. Moses, however, was not allowed to enter the Promised Land himself because of an incident where he disobeyed God's command. Instead, God showed him the land from a distance, and Moses died on Mount Nebo at the age of 120. The story of Moses showcases his significant role as a leader, deliverer, and lawgiver for the Israelites.